And good morning, my friends. How are you on this rainy, dreary, at least for me, hump day? My goodness. Doing my normal thing yesterday, I saw a post in the Crime Lines and Lies Facebook group that said Dylan Round's body has been found. Well, I just about shit and fell back in it because I never thought Brenner would say a word. I never thought he would. I really thought he would just keep on dicking around and playing games with law enforcement and the family. Very odd that he has a court date coming up. But yet yesterday walked law enforcement out. And I hate to tell him, and we will talk about it during the show, the deal is not that sweet for him. Is he trying to get right with Jesus? Because he knows he's going to die. The dude can barely walk. I believe 100% that Don Hadley had already made a deal and got a proffer agreement. Because you can't tell me he didn't know more about what happened Memorial Day of 2022. No way. Let's just take a second because it is Wednesday, hump day, and you know the routine. First, we're going to tell Stacy Pori, our great friend, we're going to tell her happy birthday. And I hope your birthday is the best ever, Stacy. And of course, you know what today is. It is Wednesday. Who is wearing pink? You know what that means. Pink lipstick, pink nail polish, a pink shirt, pink undies.
Oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
It's hump day. Yes, it is. We were halfway to the weekend. Anyone have any great weekend plans? We're going to be pushing 90 here soon, and I am all about it. So we know what we do on Wednesdays. We decide who can sit with us.
It's adorable. So fetch. What is fetch? Oh, it's like slang from England. So if you're from Africa, why are you white? Oh my God, Karen, you can't just ask people why they're white. Could you give us some privacy for like 1 second? Yeah, sure. Okay, you should just know that we don't do this a lot, so this is like a really huge deal. We want to invite you to have lunch with us every day for the rest of the week. Oh, it's okay. Cool, miss. So we'll see you tomorrow. On Wednesdays, we wear pink. Oh my God.
On Wednesdays, we wear pink. Snow said she's doing yard work all weekend if it doesn't rain. Greg will be doing yard work all weekend too. And you guys will be hearing from me as I watch him work. But, you know the routine around this house. Woo! Again, I could not believe when I saw this pop up in the Crime Lines and Lies Facebook group last night. I thought, first in my head, did Brenner make a deal? He's been offered deals, but Candace Cooley and Justin Rounds have said no, 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 no. I'm assuming those deals are because they didn't have their son. Candace Cooley and Justin Rounds are warriors for Dylan. They have spent thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars in a search for their son, when the whole time, as we knew, this piece of shit knew exactly where he was. And I'm going to go a little further with this, because I believe this piece of shit knew too. That is Don Hadley, as they call him in all the documents, DH. I've always had a question. Who took the video? And how sick are these two, period? How sick is Brenner? How sick is Don Hadley? We know that James Brenner is a squatter. I need more clarification on that, because at one time he was allowed on the property and actually had a key to the gate. No way could that old man had buried Dylan in the desert and done any of the things he did alone. Someone made a proffer agreement. Someone did. This is what came to light yesterday. The body of Dylan Rounds, a man from eastern Idaho who has been missing for nearly 2 years, was recovered Tuesday morning in a remote part of northern Utah near the Nevada line, according to his family. Rounds disappeared from his farm in the desert town of Lucin, Utah, over Memorial Day weekend in 2022. The 19-year-old spoke with his grandmother on the phone before he vanished and was never heard from again. His family has spent the past 2 years searching for answers, and that they have. They have. We have an entire playlist about Dylan. So if you want to check out the other shows we've had about Dylan, I do understand that, Daisy last night said she's the only person covering Dylan. I couldn't believe when that was sent to me. I was like, are you serious? No one else is covering Dylan except for you? I'm looking at a damn news article right here. He had his whole life in front of him. He was so excited about his farming. That's what he wanted to do. But James Brenner, in my opinion, was so jealous of his potential success. He picked on everything. how Dylan took care of his truck, how Dylan took care of his boots, how Dylan did everything. James Brenner is charged with aggravated murder and abuse or desecration of a human body in connection to Round's death. He led authorities to the location of the young man's burial site Tuesday morning as part of a plea agreement. Family members were told around 11 a.m., that'd be yesterday, that skeletal remains had been found and authorities believe they are Dylan Round's. The FBI assisted the Box Elder County Sheriff's Office by processing the area for evidence and recovering the remains. The remains are in the possession of the Utah Office of the Medical Examiner for confirmation of identity. Well, he took them straight to where he put them. He signed his plea agreement, or probably signed it after, and he took them straight to where he put Dylan. I still think that Dylan had been moved, but that's just my opinion. They go on to say, our hearts go out to the family of Dylan Rounds. We offer our sincerest condolences for the loss of their family member. We understand the pain of their loss is immeasurable. Yeah, I think it's a little more than that. The thing is both Candace Cooley and Justin Rounds had already, I can't say made peace with. They had a true understanding that Dylan was gone. Dylan had been murdered. They asked for one thing. Where is he? We want to give him a burial. We want to lay him to rest properly. And this dirtbag wearing Dylan's hat on the right of your screen wouldn't even give them that. You know, and it's not about money. But over the almost last 2 years, Candace Cooley and Justin Rounds, who, by the way, are not married, they are a divorced couple, and they worked in side by side in unity to find their son. You see Brenner there, who has Dylan's hat on, as you can see in the picture. He wanted that land. Mind you, he doesn't have 2 pennies to rub together. He doesn't. No way, no how. Dylan had just gone to Beck's Seeds, I believe it was called, and he was ready for his first season. He was ready to go. Until Brenner got in his way. I think it's absolutely damn disgusting. You want something, you work for it. Isn't that how it goes? He was so jealous about how the farm was given to him, the equipment, I mean, the whole 9 yards. Thank you, Snow, for posting our playlist on Dylan Rounds. Yes, we have been covering this case for quite a long time. Can't do daily updates. But we certainly will get to it. I'm going to go through the comments that were left on the community page last night because you all had a lot to say. Bama Squirrel said, it's a bittersweet feeling for me. His mom and family wanted him to be found and they never quit looking. Dylan can now be took home to rest in peace, and mom and family can get the closure and justice needed. They already, yeah, I agree with that. It is bittersweet. Hobby Homestead said everyone should plant black-eyed Susan and sunflowers in honor of Dylan. Well, I've got my sunflowers planted. Let's see if they bloom. Laura B said, darn right, it's now time for justice. Makes me wonder, though, what kind of a deal they made with Brenner. Hopefully they just removed the death penalty or some stupid crap. Heck, he's already old, so let him sit and rot away the rest of his life in prison. I agree. We don't have the details of the plea, but he took him straight to his body, which means there will not be a trial. He will have another hearing. The judge will say, you're guilty. You're going to be in jail for the rest of your life, which for Brenner could be like 2 years. He's not a healthy dude. Probably the most they did was take away the death penalty. Doxy Mom Carrie said, I wish the perpetrators in Summer and Michael Monkey's cases would lead Ellie to their remains also. Amen, sister. I feel the same way. Lock him up. Let him sit on a metal toilet. Eat their white bread and cold beans for lunch. Wait on their commissary money. Let them sweat it out, is what I say. Obviously, these are all very different cases. Well, one of our friends, a very good friend, is basically the walking encyclopedia on Dylan's case. She has followed it. She knows everything. I mean, she's in every group. We all know her as Gayet Girl. I'm not going to put her real name out, but her most important title around here is our friend. So let's have a round of applause for Gayet Girl. Well, you old stranger, like I don't talk to you every day. Here you are up on panel.
Yes, a very rare occurrence.
And I love it. Go ahead and introduce yourself to people who don't know who you are.
I am Gaelic girl, the mod, with all my other wonderful mod sisters of this channel. Gosh, I obviously live in Ireland, as if you can't tell by the accent. I apologize to anyone that doesn't understand it. I've been told we have a thick brogue, but yeah, I always had an interest in true crime. My friend,
A gorgeous accent.
Pardon?
You have a gorgeous accent.
A friend of mine who was 7 months pregnant disappeared, and That's over 30 years ago. The dog and everybody on the street knows who did it, but it's circumstantial, and unfortunately they both are still being looked for. And she wasn't far off Dylan's age, a little bit older. When she went, maybe that was the connection with him. But more so, he was a young man in a rural area. I know that. And in the back of nowhere, with a
Damn.
little bit of land, trying to make a life for himself and succeeding. Until
Now, what is it about Dylan's case that has really ripped at your heart? And I know you care about all of them. By the way, if you're in the Crime Lines and Lies Josh Duggar group, Gaelic runs that whole group. She manages almost 3,000 people in that group. Let me tell you a story. If I go in there and say something, they will mob me. I mean, I'm talking, they will jump all over me and say, Gaelic doesn't allow that. And I'm like, well, who the hell am I? So what is it about the Dylan Rounds case that you have always been so ingrained in?
he was a kid, like many around here that are involved in agriculture. Not every farmer is rich, not every farmer is everything. And he was trying to get crops to grow in the most horrible environment you could pick. But he was succeeding.
Mm-hmm.
And I can relate to that. So many of my friends have started at his age and younger with a couple of acres and tried to build a life for themselves and their families. And I think it was that. And I think
It's not easy work. We're not
no,
talking about the half-assed job I do around here when I'm gardening.
when
You know,
you're
some seeds and I get some Miracle Grow and I go in back inside and like, well, did it grow or not? This is to feed people. This is to feed people in America and other countries. This is a huge farm. He was disking and planting.
and he had a whole new sprinkler system put in, ready for his planting. He was ready, set to go. As a grandmother, my heart breaks for his grandmother because I hate to think that will be her last memory of him. That phone call.
That phone call was it. That was the last time anyone spoke to him. You said something that really, really got to me today when we were talking. And you said, people talk about this generation, but we don't look at the ones that are doing it right, like Dylan Rounds.
Exactly. I'm sick of hearing this generation. They don't want to work. The world owes them this. It's not true of every kid. Yes, there are some they think they're going to get instant fame, or they're opinionated enough to think the world owes them something. Get with the program, kids. It owes you nothing. None of us. You want something in life, you work for it. And it doesn't matter who you are or what basis or background you come from.
Well,
On
it's like
top of that,
I said, my kids work their asses off.
yeah,
And
they go to college. Well, I don't know about the States, but in this country, I mean, you're 7 years out of college and you're still paying your student loans. You know? The world owes none of us not anything. Life gives you lemons. You gotta make lemonade. Sometimes it's sweet, sometimes it's sour. And today it's a bit of both. For me, anyway. It's bittersweet.
And I was worried about you. Kat and I were talking about it, at the wee hours of the morning. Kat said, does Gaelic know his body's been found? I said, I have not talked.
I obviously, because Nate Eaton has been following this probably more even than me, even though he's not in the Facebook groups, but he's around.
Mhm.
I've always been getting alerts from his channel because I'd always prayed Brenner might grow a conscience. Wasn't expecting it. Not this near pre-trial. Definitely not. And then it just hit, and I was floored. I was like, you know, I listened and I read, and then it was just like surreal. So today my heart breaks for Candice, Justin, his siblings, his grandparents, all his family and his friends who have, bless their hearts, they have left such a legacy for Dylan. He won't ever be forgotten.
Well, to do a recap for everybody, because not everyone is very familiar with the case or, forgot, we do have a whole playlist about Dylan Rounds. Go please check it out. This is Nate Eaton. Now, I do wish that he would get more involved in Michael Vaughn's case because he's in East Idaho. And I understand he's up to his, well, look at that Mormon O-face he's got on right now. Woo! Could you imagine that on you?
Oh, he's in Daybell territory for the next couple of weeks anyway.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. And of course, he's very ingrained in this case, but he did the news yesterday. So you're going to get a small recap here. I always pause these things at the wrong time, Gaelic.
That's okay. I'm used to that. If you didn't do it, I'd be wondering what's up with Brooks today.
I know.
I'm Nate Eaton with EastIdahoNews.com. We have some breaking news to bring you right now. The body of Dylan Rounds has been found. Dylan Rounds, his remains have been found in a remote area of Lucin, Utah. Dylan is the young 19-year-old who vanished over Memorial Day weekend back in 2022. He was a farmer. He moved to the desert town of Lucin, Utah, which is in northern Utah, kind of near the Nevada border, when he vanished. And his family tells me that this morning his remains were found near or in Lucin in a remote area. That's all the information that we have at the moment from his family. Of course, Rounds had been missing since May of 2022. The 19-year-old spoke with his mother on the phone right before he vanished, and his family has spent the past 2 years searching for answers. His mother, Candace Cooley, tells me that as part of a plea agreement with James Brenner, the man accused of killing Dylan, Brenner led the investigators out to the site where the remains were on Tuesday morning, which would be today, on April 9th, in case you're just tuning in, or you're watching on another day. They got there, they found those remains, and they have been recovered. Now, Brenner is charged with aggravated murder and abuse or desecration of a human body in connection to Rounds' death. Let me show you just how remote this area is. That's where Dylan was farming. That was his camper. That was his truck. And you can see there's not much around this area. It really was a desolate area. James Brenner, this is the man who is facing those charges.
Look at that POS. Even the Unabomber looked better than him. Look at him. Gaelic.
Well, he'd look a lot worse if I had a shovel and was near him.
Mm-hmm. Let's go through the probable cause affidavit just to speed everyone up.
Okie doke.
The 19-year-old victim was reported as a missing person on or about May 30th, 2022. Sheriff's deputies, along with search and rescue crews, immediately got to work on efforts to locate the victim, but were unsuccessful. During the search, deputies discovered a pair of boots that belonged to the victim nearby. One boot had a blood stain that DNA analysis confirmed belonged to the victim. The victim, as we know, is Dylan Rounds. In addition to DNA belonging to the defendant, which is Brenner, the victim's phone records were obtained, which showed movements on the day of his disappearance on a remote property in Lucin, Utah, where defendant was squatting. I need to know more about the squatting because at one time, Brenner was allowed to be on the property. Then they switched it to squatting. He wasn't supposed to be there. Justin Rounds has made it clear he is not a family friend. He doesn't sit with us at the Thanksgiving table. I'll look more into that. Phone data showed that the last signal from the victim's phone was at the Lucin Pond, and a search of the pond led to the discovery of the victim's phone. A digital forensic download of the phone was conducted and led to the discovery of a time-lapse video with a timestamp taken at the time of the victim's disappearance. The video showed the defendant with bloodstains on his arms and shirt as he is cleaning a gun. The shirt, which defendant is wearing in the video, was analyzed, and the victim's DNA was found on the shirt. Defendant, who is James Brenner, was interviewed and made several claims that corroborated forensic evidence in addition to making numerous false statements. So they had Brenner dead to nuts.
He wasn't talking.
Who took the video? Because at the time of him cleaning the gun, Dylan was dead.
DH?
I think it was this guy. I think he was scared for his own life. He kind of looks a lot like Brenner. I think it was Don Hadley.
Allegedly, he is not in the area. I haven't had proof of it yet. I have seen it being reported today.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was him. There was nobody else out there unless, I don't know. At one stage, people thought he was in Area 51. I mean, come on, people.
He got his proffer agreement. He spoke with the FBI. He got Brenner turned in for guns because as a felon, and it's so crazy. Criminals don't follow the law. Isn't that nuts? They just don't. I hear all the time, we need stricter laws. We need stricter laws. Criminals do not follow the law.
When you've no respect for life, you're not going to.
No, we need stricter security, meaning use your Second Amendment right and keep these fucks away from you.
Exactly. We don't even have that here, and thankfully, our rates are low, but at the same time, it's about respect for life. This kid did nothing to nobody.
A fatal paper cut said we need to enforce the laws we already have. Exactly. How about we pay our police officers so we have more of them?
Exactly.
I don't want a police by any means.
Is there corrupt, Ellie? I'm sure there is. But on the whole, those men and women in America, just like here, they go out every day. They put their lives on the line. They have families at home. We don't know if they're going to come back to them at the end of that shift. There is no respect for authority anymore, or law, and I don't know why. Is it I'll do what I like and F you kind of thing?
That's exactly how they are. They have a criminal mindset. That's how they are. Just like James Brenner here. He gets out of parole and he's told, no guns for you. Well, what does he get locked up for? having a gun. That's what he gets locked up for. He didn't care. And his buddy turned him in. I still want to know who took the video. It can't be Dylan, because Dylan at that point would have been deceased.
Yeah.
James Brenner threw it in the pond.
Mm-hmm.
So while he was cleaning up, someone grabbed the phone and took a little video.
Well, it's not like it's a very populated area, so, you know, had to be somebody.
What is there, like 8 people in the whole area? There was 3 people there. DH, James Brenner, and Dylan. Who took the video? Probably the one that got the damn proffer agreement. And I'm telling you what, these DAs giving out these proffer agreements like they're suckers on Halloween is pissing me off.
Yep.
Sarah said, could Dylan have started the video? Dylan was dead.
Dylan couldn't know at that time. The phone had to be retrieved from water and analysed, and the timestamps wouldn't have matched up. His last known data was on his call to his grandmother. It had started to rain and he was going to move the grain into the shed. And that was why he had said to her, I will call you back when I've done. He sadly never got that chance.
We've got too many DAs that are scared for their political assignment, and we've got too many appointed judges that should not be sitting there. But that's just my opinion. They don't ask me.
I mean,
he
that's the truth.
must have said something to investigators or cooperated or something. We don't have all of the details at this point, but they do have the remains because of where James Brenner led them. This is a spot where James Brenner had his camper. He lived near Dylan Rounds out there. Both of them were in separate campers. And when Dylan's family went out to begin looking for him in late May of 2022, they found his boots right there behind that mound of dirt, which was some distance off. And there was also a shed right by James Brenner's camper. This is what that shed looked like. And within a few days of Dylan disappearing, James Brenner cleaned that shed to the point of how it looks now. You know, it doesn't look very clean, maybe to some of us, but he did remove bags out of that shed, according to Dylan's family, and he did take those to an undisclosed location. And so all of this would likely have come into play if there was a trial. It still could, as far as evidence, but as I mentioned,
Okay, with this plea deal, I do not believe there's going to be a trial. I think there's going to be a hearing, and it's going to be a gavel. I'm going to pretend like I have one, and he's going to get his sentencing.
Whatever that was.
Anna Lizette said the DP wasn't part of the case. A plea agreement is the only way they could find Dylan. DP was part of the case because the parents said that's what they wanted.
They would not give on that issue.
No, they said they wanted the DP, period.
And Candice is not a woman who changes her mind.
No.
And Justin, those parents have fought. I mean, they came together and unified, and there's nothing they haven't done. They've had EquiSearch, they've had private drones, they have searched every square inch they could possibly think of.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, it hasn't been disclosed where Dylan was. I truly hope it's not just 5 minutes away from where they were standing at some stage when that is disclosed. And
he's going to be locked up for life, period. But if we don't know what they took off the table. We don't know. I'm going to assume it's the DP.
For Dylan, yes. The parents, and I think any parent would say, okay, give us back our child. We'll let the DP go. But don't. We want the DP. And I can see that.
Hang on. Black-haired chick said the plea deal was to tell where the body was, and they would use some of the reward money to put money on his books. He has no money and no family. So he really sat there for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And didn't say a word when this family has been pleading and pleading and pleading and pleading. But because he wants ramen, Pepsi, and beefaroni. Now, I want to know exactly how the plea deal was made before they went to Candace and Justin.
Yeah.
Are they really going to turn over their own money to keep him fat and happy? I really hope that's not the case. A fatal paper cut said maybe he found Jesus. That seems to be the word on the streets, that he knows he's sick. He knows he's going to pass away soon, so he wants to clear the conscience.
Well, unfortunately for him, he can clear it all he likes, but when he does pass on and he meets his maker, he still knows what he did. He knows the evil in his heart.
Jules True Crime said, I still want more details on Dodd Hadley. Me too. He is the one that gave up James Brenner, or as they call him, Jimmy or Jim. He gave him up about the guns. He was supposed to babysit the guns.
Yeah,
come on, like the guns are going to run away.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever asked you to babysit a gun? Just watch the guns for me. Just babysit them for me.
Yeah, just not you take care of them.
Yeah, then here comes the U.S. Marshals, and he hands them over, and then Jim Brenner is pissed at his butt buddy, Don Headley, saying, I told you not to give my guns up. The next thing you know, he's in the pokey for having a gun while being a felon.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's when they squeezed DH, as they call him. And I think he made a proffer agreement. I think he saw everything, and I think he took the video.
Honestly, I cannot imagine who else could have done. And let's not forget,
Dylan was dead, and the cell phone got thrown into the pond. You really think that James Brenner's going to take a video of himself cleaning up blood and everything?
Well, unless he's 5 arms, no.
No, that didn't happen.
According to Dylan's family, as part of some sort of plea deal, Brenner took the authorities to the area where Dylan's body was, and they were able to find it. I spoke with Dylan's family. They, of course, are a lot of emotions tonight. This has been such a mystery for 2 years now. But Candace did ask me to convey, we thank everyone for their support and love. We are grateful we now have Dylan's body and can bring him home as we continue our fight for justice. And unclear when Mr. Brenner will appear in court again. There was a hearing scheduled for this month, but at last check, that was delayed. However, now with the recovery of Dylan's body, it could be had sooner rather than later. I want to show you on a map just where this place is because it's desolate. And when I say this place, I don't mean where Dylan's remains were actually found, other than it was in the Lucin area, but that's a very large area. But this is where Lucin is. If you pull out here, you can see the Nevada-Utah border right here on the left of your screen. And then over here is Montello, Nevada. Dylan went back and forth between Montello and Lucin quite a bit. This was another, if you want to say big town, it's not real big, but the closest, nearest town to where Lucin is. So he went back and forth between these two places. And in the early stages of the investigation, there was a lot of focus on Montello, and then it seemed to shift into Lucin. I don't even know if there's a population count for Lucin, but they do have an airport, as you can see. If we zoom out quite a bit more, this will give you a reference as far as where this is located. So over here is Tremont in Utah, Brigham City, Malad is here, Lava Hot Springs, Blackfoot, Shelley. So it's right over here. And it's quite a distance if you were to fly from Idaho Falls, if you were to drive from Idaho Falls down to Lucin. But this is where his body was found, and this is where family are breathing a sigh.
Okay. Truth is, the DA had never said they were going to pursue the death penalty. Now, the parents were 100%, we want the DP. No plea agreement is not going to have the DP. There were several charges on Brenner. The only thing I can think of is that with his health problems, he decided, let's just get it straight. I've got one chance to do something right in my life. And I'm going to go ahead and tell him where he's at. Hell, maybe they gave him new shoes for the shower. Maybe they gave him like a extra comfy pillow. I don't know. I don't think he was that scared of the death penalty, considering that would be easier on him in Utah than the diseases he's going through. Hell, they could have held it over his head, the medical treatment he needs. I don't know. What do you think, Gaelic?
It's highly possible. And justifiable to an extent. I mean, if that's what it takes, he knew. Yes, he has said something now, but why not originally? He'd done it. He knew they had the evidence. He could have given this family closure at least. None of this in and out of court and for no reason when he knew they had the goods on him, but he just wouldn't reveal where.
He wanted that land. He wanted to control the land. That's why he went from an invited guest to a squatter, as they call him that in all the documents. And I've asked for almost 2 years, how did he go from someone working on the land to a squatter? And we heard Justin Rounds say he is not a family friend.
No, he's not. I think Dylan, for a certain period of time, I strongly believe he was a kind-hearted young guy. I've seen nothing anywhere to support any other theory. That he probably tolerated and felt sorry for this man who had nothing and nowhere to go. But there comes a point when he realized this guy really isn't my friend. And this is my land and I want to do it my way, not his way.
It's exactly how he acted. He picked apart the way that Dylan took care of his boots, the way Dylan took care of his truck. He even said to Justin Rounds, if that was my pickup truck, I would take care of it a different way. He wanted everything that Dylan had. But instead of working for it, he took his life. That's just my opinion.
I still believe
now that his remains have been found. So there still are a lot of questions. There still are some court stuff to obviously get worked out, to get solved, to get taken care of. This has been a case we've covered extensively on East Idaho News since Dylan vanished. In fact, here was a picture just at CrimeCon last year. They put up a "Have you seen me" poster with all of these nice messages around them. Keep fighting. Love how his parents represent him. We will find you, Dylan. Hold on to hope. And then there's these wonderful photos that his mother has shared with us and on publicly on social media. There's little Dylan as a young boy feeding pigs. There he is on a tractor. He loved farming, was big into farming, big into the outdoors, fishing. There he is. I don't know if he's taking care of a sheep there. Looks like he might be. And
Yeah,
here he
sheep.
is on a tractor, which, again, he loved to farm. And that's what took him out to that location so that he could begin farming. He was raised in Eastern Idaho. His father is still in Eastern Idaho, Justin Rounds. And tonight, again, they have the answer they've been waiting for. They have recovered Dylan Rounds' body. We will continue to follow this story and bring you the latest developments. We have reached out to the Box Elder County Sheriff's Office to see if they have any comment. What usually happens in these types of cases is they cannot confirm right away 100%. Like, we know the ID. They'll send the body away for identification, and then it takes a day or two to get 100% confirmation.
100%. I'm going to go ahead and say it. 100%. Brenner took him exactly out to the spot, and he stood there while they dug him up. If I went and pointed at something in my yard and said, "Oh, could be a body out there," guess what they're going to find? Nothing but tree roots.
Yeah. Like this young man was about, and that was the most striking part, was how clean his vehicle was. It was spotless. And no young guy that's farming, and the weather is his enemy or his best friend, depending on the day, has time to have a spotless truck parked up right before planting. That was scrubbed. The hubcaps were shining.
Does make you wonder what the landowner was thinking by letting James Brenner and, in quotes, DH even be on that land, because Dylan's grandfather bought the farm for him. And that's why he was out there. And I will say this right now. I understand that there's been a ruckus throughout this entire case because of Jim Terry.
Yes.
I am not putting the link up today because he will grab it. He will come backstage under another name. What he has done to this case and to this family is ridiculous. He has made a true mess for this poor family. He was wrong again. He said it was some sort of gay man circle. Just like when he talked about the Idaho 4, he said it was going to be an immigrant that did it. Wrong again. Okay, he guessed right on Kylie Rodney. He said she'd be found in the water. Well, that's a good one. I understand he was causing a lot of ruckus yesterday.
Yes. And he disrespected that young man so much. It's not my business, Jim Terry's business, or anybody's business, even if he was. And there's nothing to suggest that either. And his grandfather may have bought him that land, but that land is the most inhospitable land to farm. He wasn't getting golden soil, I can promise you that.
No, you have to work for it. You have to work for it.
EquiSearch had even problems with their drones. Couldn't get readings because of the soil out there. And Jim Terry made a mockery of this young man and of a heartbroken family.
And took all that money from the grandparents that were reaching out because they knew that he had been involved with another case. He took
Exactly.
their money, sat on his couch, and just started making stories up.
And then started a channel mocking Dylan coming through a box. And messages and the most horrendous things. But I know.
We lost Gaelic for a minute, and it was just ridiculous. And so, mods, if you happen to see Jim Terry in here or someone who is just making a havoc, let me know. We had a little issue yesterday. Everybody was busy. I didn't get a chance to catch it, but this family never not cared about their son. And that is the truth. So the things he has said about this family, oh, they just sent him up to the desert because he's gay. No, they didn't. He wanted to farm. Ridiculous. They got Heavy D to come out there. Look at a little bit of this.
To work on the farm, and that's what he wanted to do.
He wanted to be a farmer, and now he has it, and now something's happened.
We're dealing with very, very little information here, like minimal information. From what we've been hearing, there's definitely the potential for some foul play.
Bienvenidos, amigo.
That's trousers. Is that your dad? Physical film stuff. Don't worry about it, David. I bought him.
Alright, so we're currently about 10 miles from where we're meeting up with Dylan's family. I'm not sure if this is the actual farm or the ranch where he was working or right nearby it, but from here we're going to be able to touch down, meet with his parents, and then all the other people who are out here looking for him, and then get a good idea of or a better idea of what happened. And then we're going to pick back up and search the area. This is basically kind of the terrain we're going to be searching. It's kind of like lake bed. It's kind of like this is a little bit higher than the Bonneville Salt Flats, and then you've got these huge mountain ranges that come up out of it. So I think the ranch or the farm that we're going to was on the lake bed part. So hopefully we don't have to fly too up in the mountains as far as searching for him goes. But we'll see what shakes out when we meet up with the family here.
Yep, this is Dave Sparks. So.
Hi, I'm Candace. I'm mom. This is my husband, Mike.
Hi, nice to meet you guys. I'm sorry.
I know, it sucks.
That sucks.
We know he's out here.
This was the first guy.
Yeah.
The shop up here, and that's where he was supposed to leave from.
Mom's instinct.
Behind that shop, that's where we found his boots.
Yeah, we found his boots.
Just his boots.
You talk about heartbreaking, and they bring out Heavy D and his whole crew. They're like,
Yeah.
we know he's out here.
But to hear his mum say, we know he's out here.
Mm-hmm.
Mom's instinct. Just
V Slim has a question. I guess she missed the beginning of the show. She said, how was he found? Who found him? The suspect made a plea deal and took them to where he buried him. He made a deal. Go ahead, Gayet. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I wasn't as nice as you. I just called him scum, but it's just not good way too. Boy, he knew he was done. He knew they had the DNA.
He knew they had the DNA. He knew they had the video. He knew he had the boots. I mean, here's the probable cause.
Just pure
right
evil.
here on the screen. I would call that dead to nuts. It's right there.
Pure evil. To have left this family searching. And he had to be aware of this going on. And just believe that their instinct was right. They knew he was around, but out there it's like looking for a needle in a haystack.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, tragedy can destroy or unite a family. It has united this family so much. If you visit the official pages, Dylan's Legacy, or to get the sunflower seeds, there's so many beautiful things to ensure his name will live on in his dream. And I guess that's the most any family can do now. They've created a legacy for Dylan. And those sunflowers are growing all over the world. In fact, our cat, but I couldn't find it to send to you, made a beautiful, on the first anniversary, just a little video with candles lit from the CLL community for Dylan. And Candace thanked everyone for that.
Mm-hmm.
They appreciated every prayer, every message, every picture of a sunflower. But their whole focus was to have their baby. He was still, it doesn't matter how old your kids get, they're still your babies. They wanted their baby back. And they weren't stopping until they had that.
They weren't stopping. And all the smear campaign that has been against Candace and Justin is ridiculous. I've seen it in other cases, and sometimes it is due smear. It is. When parents are not cooperating, parents are lying, parents are twisting words, parents don't know where the hell they were, you are going to scratch your head. I mean, we look at the Sebastian case, all the lies from Chris and Katie. We've seen in the Michael Vaughn case. I mean, the way people have done horrible things to Tyler and Brandy when it was said very early on Michael was abducted.
And Michael was in that percentage that is just so unfortunate. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And white people cannot accept that some evil, disgusting, or a few evil, disgusting in this case, people.
But I watched it unravel with Candace Cooley and Justin Rounds, and they didn't care. They were like the Terminator. They were like those bullets just plopped right off of them. They're like, no, we're ready. We're going to continue until we find our son.
Their attitude was,
But his camper's pickup when he was locked up on the other end.
We'll have you give
So you see that shop?
Yep.
So that's where Dylan, last we heard from Dylan, he was going in to park his grain truck, his seed truck, so that it didn't get rained on. That was like 7:30 Saturday morning, and then he said he calls Grandma right back, and then she never.
That was Saturday morning.
That was Saturday morning, and so we figured he took off across the desert, walking back to his camper, because that's nothing unusual for him.
How far's his camper from there?
5 miles down this road. Off, yeah. But for a 19-year-old kid who's out here farming by himself, he's used to having to walk himself around.
Okay.
Move equipment. He's, But then later that day, when search and rescue got out, we found his boots behind this dirt pile that's straight out back here, about 400 yards from where he left his grain truck. So we're starting to wonder if he was even the one that took his grain truck out there. There's some sketchy stuff because there's really deep ruts where his grain truck was, and it shouldn't have rained that hard already.
Yeah.
Because the rain didn't start till like 6 in the morning.
Okay.
So we don't know if something went on out there. Like I said, that's kind of with your guys' eyes in the sky, watch freshly turned up dirt. I mean, you guys know what to look for. Just any disturbance of shouldn't be there. This desert's pretty much all the same. So
yeah. So that way we'll find basically just a trailer.
A camp trailer, you'll see the pivot, his pickup, there's all kinds of equipment. Yeah, you can't, it's all of his stuff's out.
I still think Brenner used Dylan's pickup to move him, because remember, it hadn't rained, but someone had washed the truck.
Oh, it was shining like it came out of a showroom.
And he made that comment to Justin Rounds, if that was my pickup, I would take better care of it. Of course, there's different reasons that he probably washed it up. Also, the seat was moved all the way up. Now, James Brenner and his big old fat belly doesn't need the seat moved all the way up, but he was moving something else.
Yeah, that's the sad part. And just me has it right.
She does.
I have an ex. We might not be best friends, but if something happens to our children, you can be sure we're gonna come together and we'll fight hell and high water for them.
You better believe it. Two Boston Moms has a great question. She said, Brooks, do you think Brenner could have given names as part of the plea deal? I was wondering about that all night, because for it to have last minute 11:59 type of plea deal, he takes them straight to his body. Who else did he give up? That is a great question, and I've been racking my brain about it.
Because it kind of brought me back to, hey, Delphi, like when Kate Keegan-Klein, who you couldn't believe amen out of that guy's mouth, had them researching the river. So something or someone, shall we say, pushed him to this come to Jesus moment.
And I know a lot of people have given a lot of hell to how this investigation was handled. I am of the belief that investigations are not that easy. People just don't tell on themselves. And the body is the crime scene.
And you can go to a courtroom, and if all you have is circumstantial evidence, while on paper that looks great, all it takes is one person for that to be thrown out. And you're right back to nothing again. And
and in this country, you get one shot to go to trial. You get one to convince 12. And I think, we have been around people and around the internet long enough to know that there's some goofy ass people out there.
Yeah. I mean,
is, and circumstantial will not convince them, particularly with some of these judges' instructions.
Exactly. And, you know, there are some people out there that just, you just will always get one. You have to be certain those 12 people will believe that you have proved beyond reasonable doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And good luck in Delphi, because there's a prosecutor that has a job on his hands. That's just my opinion.
Well, and the truth is, they were already barreling down the train track. They had already charged him with murder. They were ready. They have the DNA on the boots. They were probably squeezing DH to be the state's witness. Probably gave him, in my opinion, a proffer agreement. But something made old Brenner change his mind and start cooperating. He took him straight to Dylan's body. Is it afraid to meet Jesus? Or was something else done for him? Like I said, a fluffier pillow, medical treatment, a better mattress. I don't know.
Well, I doubt it was out of the goodness of his heart. That much I'm certain.
Let's go through a little bit of what Candace Cooley and Justin Rounds said to East Idaho News.
I'm Nate Eaton, and here in our studio today we have Candace Cooley and Justin Rounds. You probably recognize them. They are Dylan Rounds' parents, who has been missing since Memorial Day weekend, and there's been a big break in the case just in the past few days. First of all, your reaction that James Brenner has been charged with murder in connection to your son's death.
Finally, that's our reaction. We've said it the whole time, and we have fought for it the whole time. And we've told you many a times there should be charges. There's enough evidence for charges. We've been so frustrated with that. So our reaction is finally, it's about time.
Was there any sense of surprise or shock, or was it more of good, let's get this going?
Yes,
Let's get it going.
Let's get it going. We've known from the first day we were out there. We just had to fight to get this far. So for us as a family and for Dylan, it is a huge win. This cannot be swept under the rug. This cannot go away now. It's out there, charges are filed, and we can start moving forward.
One of the things that surprised me in the probable cause document was that the prosecutor wrote that there was video of Brenner cleaning a gun as he had blood on his shirt and arms. I mean, that's pretty detailed.
Right.
And they believe that, I guess that was shot right after the crime. Do you have any further insight on that?
So we know Dylan was at the gate when he called Brenner. I think it was 6:57 or somewhere around there. So we know Dylan was at the gate to get in then.
Okay, 6:57, Dylan's at the gate. Obviously, Dylan has a key to the gate. So did James Brenner. I have always said, not that I have the proof, that something went down at that gate.
Yeah.
I don't believe that James Brenner was alone. I believe DH was with him. And I still want to know who took the video of Brenner.
And I assume in due time we shall find out. But, you know.
Because I think Brenner grabbed that phone because Brenner would have used it. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
He would have sold it. He needs money. We all know he doesn't have a pot to piss in. He can't rub two nickels together. But he throws it in the pond. We know that DH was very intimidated by James Brenner.
Oh, yeah. Because Brenner could have turned around and just pulled a gun on him, too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this guy was violent, which is why he was out there in the first place, trying to evade law enforcement.
Giraffe Lover said it was accidentally recorded in his pocket. How can the camera get through his jeans
The phone was shut off once Dylan hung up from his grandmother.
And not to mention, he was deceased.
Yeah, by that time.
I throw my phone in my purse all the time, but I'm just not one of those that's ever had an accidental video done. I don't know. I still think DH had something to do with it, but I don't know.
So then if you give it another 5 minutes, he's up at the shed, 7:02, 7:03.
Is this AM?
Yeah.
So after he called his grandma.
Yep. But he also called Brenner.
Called Brenner after that?
Yes, and we know he called Brenner. I mean, we know just because we know. We can't say because we weren't there, but we just know because to tell him he was coming in and get needed in the gate. So the video was, I think, 7:27. And that video is from inside of Brenner's camper. It's not outside, it's in his camper.
So you're saying within 30 minutes that morning, after the call to grandma, after I've got to get the grain in the shed, that he was likely killed?
Yep, everything happened within like 32 minutes.
Any idea why?
Snap moment.
First time when I got there and the grain truck was there, Brenner was talking about how Dylan backed into his horse gate in the pen.
Mm-hmm.
He was a little frustrated about it. I didn't think a whole lot about it at the time, but that must have been it.
So, you're thinking that morning when he was putting in the truck, you may have hit the gate,
or maybe I guess, or Jim backed it in and was just, I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, we don't know if Dylan's the one who actually got the truck in the shed. We know Dylan is the one who got the truck to the property. Whether or not Brenner met him right outside because he was mad that Dylan came in, or whether Dylan backed it in and then it happened, but it was still all within.
Brenner's a dumbass, so maybe he backed it into the gate.
It's wild to me that they had that video there, because I guess you don't know, and it might come out of court, how that video was recorded. Was it recording that whole time?
No. So we, like I said, we clarified that. That was one of our huge questions. Is there more video that we don't know about? And before the charges came out, we were working on a couple pleas. So we already knew the charges were coming. We knew, Brenner's pretty much told his defense attorney, I did this. There were some pleas offered that Justin and I declined. So Box Elder's prosecuting attorney, he said we needed to have every ounce of evidence in order to make a decision on a plea or not. And then we confirmed again that there's no other video. It's drove us crazy. How did that phone start recording? It has drove us crazy. Well, I got thinking about it. So I had a couple old iPhone 8s at the house that I was saving for Dylan, because I always save the old ones. Your screen can be locked, and within one swipe, you have a video recording on the old software. So I'm pretty sure when Brenner took the phone, he just hit the wrong button, just hit the wrong swipe, and had no clue it would make it start recording.
But for even the
amazing.
The camera lens to even show that, it could have been.
It's just amazing, all of it. I can't even believe
it's unreal.
Like you said on one of your videos, a needle in a haystack. How?
Yeah. So the other question that people have been asking is, all right, they've charged him with aggravated murder, but they don't have his body, Dylan's body. Are you more confident now that you might get an answer, or that you might find him yourselves?
I'm more confident we'll
find him
without Brenner. I don't think he needs a plea deal. I don't think he needs any. I don't think he ever needs to get out.
Yeah, and they were adamant. There's not going to be a plea deal. We're going to find you. We're going to find Dylan either way. We don't want a plea. We don't want a plea deal.
And Jess, they had their issues with Box Elder, who, because probably of Dylan's age initially, weren't overly concerned by his disappearance.
I agree.
And
I mean, they flat out said maybe he went to Vegas. Maybe it's Memorial Day weekend. Maybe he hooked up with a girl and went out to the beach. I mean, what do you want us to do?
Like this kid, as your picture showed, and yes, Nate, they were sheep he was shearing, but he lived for this land. It was time to sow. He wasn't going to Vegas. It wasn't something he ever did. I think to the next town to eat now and again was probably his furthest that he left that farm. And to go back to Jim Terry's ridiculousness, what did it matter? He made a mockery of this kid.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he was gay, whose business is that? Nobody's but his. And he played that, and he made a mockery of that, and he assaulted a young man who he didn't even know, his character, his personality, and just caused more unnecessary pain for this family.
And so many people were out on that land, in that desert, looking for Dylan.
Yeah.
But it took Brenner to make a deal and take him straight where he put him. I do want to take a second and say thank you so much to our amazing friend, Kimberly Mann, because she's making it rain in here.
This is about the only place I love to see it rain.
I agree. Me too. Me too.
I'm kind of sick of it at this stage.
I know it's going to be raining off and on here today. And I'm like, ugh. It depresses OJ. OJ gets what you call like seasonal depressional disorder. So if it's a rainy day, all he does is like, lay around and sleep, But I mean, now that I think about it, even if it's, 105 and not a cloud in the sky, he does that. So that's the truth.
We don't see much sunshine over this part of the world. So, I think it probably hasn't rained for, maybe 10 days since November.
You get a lot of rain, though. You're in Ireland. You get a lot of rain.
Oh, yeah, we do. Our canal banks are ready to burst. But yes, we have to spare water.
I'm going to go ahead and open up the phone lines. Sure. I'm going to try to get real fancy with everyone. Here is the phone number. All right. I'm going to post it at the top, unless one of the mods can do it for me. When I say mods, friends. And if anybody wants to try.
Oops.
What's wrong, babe?
Oh, no, I wasn't sure if you were gone or the phone line had started. Getting very fancy around here.
No, I just put the phone line up. We're getting very high tech.
Oh, yeah.
So anybody that wants to call that number. Dina said, we thought we lost you, Brooks. No, Brooks was pinning.
Well, I'm sitting here starting to panic a bit.
Oh, you'd be fine on your own.
Oh, no.
So we're going to find him. We're going to go when the snow's done, we'll find him. I'm positive of it.
Yep. Well, we're not the same people we were 9 months ago when we first sat down and talked. We were disorganized. We were terrified. We didn't have law enforcement helps. We didn't know who to turn for. We didn't know about all these elite groups. I mean, there's over 15 groups that have hundreds of people that are willing to come spend their summer in Lucin. We were out there running around just trying to
looking
find,
for the needle in the haystack.
looking for the needle in the haystack, just not knowing the different technologies, the different groups. And then we were getting a lot of, backlash from Box Hill. They're not letting people come in. Well, this summer it can't be that way. Charges are filed. They cannot tell organizations they can't come in.
Okay, so 7:27, 7:30-ish, he's cleaning the gun. The phone is found. Dylan's phone is found in the pond, which is then recovered, and they found this video.
I'm opening up the phone lines.
Wow.
Okay, please call again, and I will open up the phone lines. I missed the call. I apologize. Whoever just called, call back.
And that's your Jim Terry.
Mm-hmm. How do I call it back? Let's see.
That's not me.
I know. Yeah, and look, I even made that thing, to show, this is the phone that I had when I was in high school, Gaelic.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Can't remember what mine looks like.
I know. All right. Call back, please.
Please do. And just at this point, if everybody, regardless of what your denomination may be or may not be, put a prayer and a song prayer in the chat for Dylan's family.
Absolutely.
As I'm sure today and the next few days are going to be both. Yes, they have their boy back, but heartbreaking. And his siblings. There's a whole family that's in a lot of pain right now.
Hello, welcome to Crime Lines and Lies. Hello? Call ended.
Oh.
Are we getting pranked?
I think so. Can't imagine by who.
Call from Pat K. To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
The captain of the ship.
Welcome to Crime Lines and Lies. Who am I speaking with?
It's Pat.
Oh, hey,
Captain.
I just wanted to see if it worked.
Can everyone hear Pat?
Hello from Canada.
Oh, hello. Okay. You're live on the air, Pat. So glad you're here.
Hi, Gayet.
Hi, Pat, sweetie.
Hey,
How are
I
you
can't
doing?
hear her.
Oh, gosh.
Can you hear Gaelic?
No.
You can only hear me.
Oh,
I can just hear you.
Teething problems.
Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you for covering this. I have listened from the beginning when they started, and it's just so very sad. Just so very sad. He did look like a salt of the earth kind of boy, old soul. And it was very nice to see a younger one out there working hard.
So what do you think Brenner's motivation was? What do you think his motive was?
Just a sec, I got a big police helicopter going over the top.
The irony.
Yes, it's a live show, everyone.
I'm in a flight flight path of the police helicopters out here. Okay, sorry, what was your question?
What do you think Brenner's his motive was? What do you think he was doing?
I think he just snapped because Dylan maybe said something at the gate. I think he's just a sicko. I think he was very jealous. You know, people that don't come from maybe what Dylan came from, getting the land, having a grandfather, having parents.
Mhm.
I think he was a jealous person, and I think the other, like, you know, the other guy that was in or sort of involved, maybe. I was thinking he was playing with the phone and probably flipped onto video.
That's what I'm thinking too. Yeah.
Because of the camera angle. Like, you know, it sort of seems like somebody else was playing with it, and Just Me had said maybe he was doing it for blackmail. And I thought, yeah, it's very possible. If he realized the camera was on, he could have left it on for a few seconds. And
I think that's exactly right, because I've seen the video and there is no way it was in Brenner's pocket. It would never have gotten that shot of him cleaning the gun and doing what he was doing. No
It was
way.
too precise.
Yeah, I haven't seen the video, but anyway. Okay, well, somebody else call in. I was just sort of testing it because, you know, I've come up before. I have my phone on speaker in case anybody else wonders, you know, as long as you guys can hear me, then you can put your phone on speaker too.
Okay, I think we have another caller coming in.
Okay, good. See you in chat.
All right.
Love you guys. Bye.
Love you, girlfriend.
Call from
Beth.
Hi, you're live on the air with Crime Lines and Lies. How are you?
Good. Hi, Brooks. Hi, Gaelic girl. Am I the first?
You are the second one. What's going on?
Not much. Not much. I'm just following the cases.
Good.
What case are you really ingrained in right now?
The Vallow Daybell.
Oh, of course.
Who isn't?
You know, that has been almost 4 years since they found, you know, the children's bodies on Chad Daybell's land.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know, I listened to the Lori Vallow case last year, and I want to know what information that they're going to bring out in this case.
It's just
I just hope he gets the death penalty, and he doesn't come in this morning and say, hey, I want to do a deal.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, you know, Dylan Rounds, Adrian Clune, Daniel Robinson, you know, we Sebastian, Summer.
There's so many. There's so many. And you know what? God bless our law enforcement for they have to gruelously, you know, besides all the, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and say, in the realm of things, the petty BS they have to deal with.
Yes.
Major crimes they have to solve. What do you think the motive was for James Brenner to do what he did?
James is an alcoholic.
Okay.
Okay. Friday night, early Saturday morning, I believe he was in an alcoholic state. And Dylan comes in with his grain truck full of seed. You know, he called him. He's honking on the horn to wake up James. James is hungover, doesn't want to get up and move that grain truck into the shed so he can protect the seed.
Mm-hmm.
And he brought his gun out. And as Dylan was climbing out the driver's seat, I believe he shot him. And, you know, then dropped the boots. But I think Ellie is overwhelmed with social media because we're on top of it. Things can't be brushed underneath the carpet anymore. and they're overwhelmed. They ask for help, and then social media comes out to try to help them and everything else, or boots on the ground, or your keyboard warriors. I think they're really overwhelmed, and Ellie is going through a negative look at the moment. There's not a lot of people being hired because they're not paying living wages anymore. They can go to Burger King and make more money.
Yep. Why pay those?
But I think the ones that are there are trying.
Well, and I think we all have to agree that social media cannot present evidence to a DA, to a jury. Speculation doesn't fly in front of a jury of your peers.
No, but that's why we have jury of our peers. Those are the ones who are going to make the decision of guilty or innocence. We're just public opinion. And we all have opinions. We all have thoughts. We all have ideas. We're all free thinking. It doesn't, it's you're darned if you do, and you're darned if you don't.
And that goes in everything we do in life.
Exactly.
So you do what morally to you is right.
Exactly.
If it means getting out and searching for your child, you get out and search for your child, come high or heck water. You don't sit on the couch. Maybe you do if you have an injury or whatever. Sit on the couch. Be a keyboard warrior. But have your family out looking. Or if you can go out looking and you have a grandpa or grandma or somebody that's injured or what could be the keyboard and the phone person and stay in a house, then that's what they do. But you go find your child. You go find your parents if they're old and senile and they got lost. You go find them. At least you try. You turn every stone over. You don't give up. And that's Candace Cooley, amazing mother. Just like Brandy Neal, amazing mothers looking for their children.
And they weren't going to stop. Justin Rounds and Candace Cooley, even though they are divorced and have moved on, married other people, they joined forces to get what needed to be done for their son. And they have taken a lot of heat over the last almost 2 years because we're coming up on Memorial Day.
Yeah. Yes, we are. Yes. But look, they still they went ahead and they persisted and they moved forward little by little. Maybe they took 2 steps forward and 10 steps back, but they kept pressing on for their son. They wanted their son found. He is found, and now he can be laid to rest where family and friends can go visit him. They have some type of closure. They won't get closure with Brennan, but he has to make peace with his maker before he meets those pearly gates.
Amen to that.
But anyway, thank you so much for having me up. I'm sure there's others that are trying to get on. So we'll talk to you later.
All right. Glad you came up.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brooks.
Well, how fancy is that, Gaelic?
We are really coming up in the world.
I don't even know what to say about this.
I think, this is pretty hot, really.
Let's go through this. This is what Dylan's parents, they revealed shocking details about James Brennan.
He's just evil.
He is an evil person. I don't know if he's an alcoholic or not. I'm sure he's had a drink or two in his life. I'm not going to disagree with the last caller. I just really think it came down to power, wanting that land, and wanting to be the boss. Something happened when Dylan rolled up and they had the argument. I don't think he's going to kill him over, hitting his horse gate. There's something else going on here.
This was a deep-seated thing. It'd been brewing for a while, I think.
I agree.
How big of a fight when I say how much of a win these charges are, because this has been such an extreme fight to get to this point.
Nearly 1 year after 19-year-old Dylan Rounds went missing from his Utah farm, charges are filed in his murder. His parents now speaking out, saying the charges are long overdue.
It's about time. It is about time. To know how long they've had what they have infuriates us even more.
Last week, 59-year-old James Brenner was charged with 1 count of aggravated murder and 1 count of abuse or desecration of a human body. The charges come months after Brenner was named a person of interest in Rounds' case.
He crossed paths with a really bad, horrible guy that just is, I don't know what I can say other than it's unfortunate.
According to a probable cause affidavit, investigators recovered a video from Rounds' phone that led to Brenner's arrest. Court documents read in part, quote, "The video showed the defendant with blood stains on his arms and shirt as he was cleaning a gun. The shirt, which defendant is wearing in the video, was analyzed and the victim's DNA was found on the shirt." Rounds' father, Justin Rounds, says news of the video was bittersweet.
Felt good to at least finally have charges pressed on him and to find out. Didn't feel good to find out about the video, but it did. About the video of him cleaning the blood off of the gun in his hands. I don't know how it felt. I can't really describe it. Well, I wasn't happy.
The 19-year-old was last heard from in May of last year.
It was on May 28th, which was Saturday, that he called his grandma and said he had to get his truck in the shed.
Rounds' mother, Candace Cooley, says her son called his grandmother to...
Heartbreaking. Kimberly Mann has a question. She said, is the desecration charge for the burial or do they have more evidence? That is fair for me. I'm going to assume the desecration is moving him.
Yeah. He had to have been moved at some point from the time it happened until Candice and Justin arrived to be taken from that farm and put out of reach that searchers wouldn't find him. And Brenner knew the territory. Like
he definitely knew the territory.
Those searches have been phenomenal. From echo search to everything you've shown here today. And each search group has encountered problems because of the soil and the type of soil out there. It was, like his dad said, looking for a needle in a haystack. And only one person knew where that needle was. But he just couldn't even have that bit of decency to give a family that much. He knew he was going to go down for this.
He knew they had him dead to nuts. He's watched Jurassic Park. He knows what DNA is.
And he waits till...
He was confronted with the video. And there's a video showing him cleaning the gun. They have the shirt. They have all this stuff. Again, who took the video? It's going to take a lot of convincing for me to say that Jim Brenner had Dylan's phone in his pocket and it just happened to get that video.
Nah, Brenner didn't want the video. And I reckon who did take it, took it for... They didn't want the gun pulled on them next.
I agree.
That's
just... Talk about some farming plans for the day. After that, he never made another call.
And the reason it had to go in the shed is because he still had some triticale seed in it and his tarps had some holes. So if he didn't put it in the shed, then the rain gets into the seed sprouts, and it's no good. You lose your, so that's why it had to get in the shed. From there, he said he'd call her back. He reached out, he called Brenner about, I can't remember the exact time, but we know he was at the gate to get onto the property. And then that was it. He was never heard from again.
At the time of his disappearance, Rounds was working on his farm in Lucin, Utah, near the borders of Idaho and Nevada. His parents tell us he often traveled for work.
Dylan chased his work. He had his stationary homes with me and his father, but he chased his work, just like so many custom people do. I mean, there's custom crews all over this area for farming. There's people who come clear from Kansas to cut grain in Idaho. It is such a common thing that people don't realize. It happens all the time.
Though he owned property in Lucin, Rounds did not live there.
Dylan absolutely did not live in Lucin. He had a camp trailer there that he would stay in if he was planting or he had his pivot on and needed to watch the water, so he had a place to sleep. He didn't live there. He would be back and forth. He'd stay more in eastern Idaho.
Both Rounds' parents tell Law and Crime Network he was a dedicated farmer who dreamed of working since he was a child.
Dylan from the time he could toddle around with his dad and his grandpa, that was just it. We knew, he was going to be a farmer, and that's what he was. Okay, I have a question from two Boston moms. She said, if Dylan had a key to the gate, why did he have to call Brenner? I have never heard the explanation of why he called Brenner when he got back to the property. Do you know?
I don't know, but I'm assuming he may have changed the locks.
Oh, okay.
So when Dylan went to put his key in, and that grain is extremely expensive, he was trying to save it, he couldn't get a gate open. So maybe he ran the gate to try to get his grain into the shed. No farmer can afford that type of loss.
No way. That's your whole crop.
Yep. That was his livelihood for the year gone.
Yeah, that is spot on, because he wouldn't just go and call Brenner to say, hey, what's going on? And I do wonder about the him hitting the other fence. He could have been like, I'm getting in here one way or another. I'm going to lose all this.
Yeah, this is my land. I think, I mean, just my own opinion is the only logical conclusion that I can come to.
I mean, who the hell would call James Brenner when you're trying to get grain in the shed?
I honestly believe he got to that gate and he couldn't get it open.
That makes more sense than anything.
And then, just to point out what the other lady said about Brenner being an alcoholic, I know many, many alcoholics, sadly. But they do not harm anybody but themselves. The only person they hurt is themselves. Not all alcoholics or addicts of any kind commit murder. And alcohol is not an excuse for any action. But personally, I just believe Brenner was jealous. Dylan was coming into his own. Like his mom said, he's a sprinkler system set up. He had everything ready to go, and saving that grain was of utmost importance. He got to that gate and he couldn't get in. And once the rain hits that seed, it's useless.
It's done and over.
Yeah. You might as well set fire to the trailer and forget about it if it's not in the ground. And I do believe with Brenner's evilness, he would have changed the locks just to intimidate Dylan. It's very simply done, believe it or not, in the farm gate. Jealousy, greed, just pure evilness. Seeing a young man.
Brenner was also under the impression that he was somehow entitled to what Dylan had.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about different statements he made straight to his father.
Yeah. And I mean,
if
how
I
did
had
he?
that truck, this is how I would take care of it. If I
How,
had those boots, if I had this farm.
how evil would you have to be to have known you killed this person's son and face them
Mm-hmm.
and state these things and hinder, because it was a hindered investigation from the start. I'm not blaming Box Elder. I know most people think, oh, he's 19, he's gone off, he's had a great night out, he's met up with friends, you know. That's not farming life. This kid was too dedicated to what he did. You live by the weather. If it's time to sow, you know it's time to sow. And it's a tough life. And the soil he was working with was particularly hard to get crop to grow in. And he eventually figured it out with sprinkler systems, like his mom said.
And no crop, no money.
No.
Farmers cannot make money without a crop. They got to have a good yield.
Plus, we don't get the goods we need if the farmers don't get the crops.
Exactly right. You're exactly right.
I mean, his hobbies were farming. It sounds kind of odd. It is kind of odd a little bit, but that's what he liked. Since he was little, that's all he ever wanted.
So when he turned 16 and got to go do that stuff, like, it was better than getting his driver's license. Just to be able to go work on a farm. He was just a worker. He was just a good-hearted worker. That's all he, ever wanted.
Neither parent felt unsafe with Rounds working in Lucin, saying he was more than competent to run a farm on his own.
Dylan was 19 years old, 10 months.
Yeah.
So
desolate.
All that Dylan did, he wasn't just some little 19-year-old kid. Dylan was pretty go-getter and hard work didn't bother him. And people might think we just say that because it's their son. It was the absolute truth.
Strong-headed, strong-willed. He had his goals. He had his plans. Ever since he was a kid, it was all about tractors and farming.
Cooley says she last saw her son on May 23rd, the Monday before he was last seen.
Typical Dylan, blowing the house. I'm finishing Independence Valley. I'm going to go get my stuff and head to Lucin and plant. Just nothing, just typical Dylan. Just don't know he's coming, pulls in the driveway fast, jumps out of his pickup. Guess what, Mom? You'll never guess what. That was always had a story. Everything had to have, he wasn't going to call you just to see how you were doing. It always had to have a story. Like, guess what? That's how the conversation, you'll never guess what happened. You'll never guess what I seen. That was just him.
But days later, she received a concerning call.
It was Monday that Dylan's best friend called me and said, have you heard from Dylan? And I said, well, no, I talked to him on Thursday. And he says, well, kind of told me Karen said I talked to him this day. And so I called him, and I'd called and texted him a couple of times and didn't hear anything back over that weekend, which was nothing out of the usual. I knew he was planting. It was nothing for Dylan to break a phone, not have a charger, nothing out of the ordinary, until myself, his father, grandma, grandpa, friends, everybody kind of started talking, and nobody had heard from him. And that was not normal. So that's when we all headed to Lucid to go see what was going on.
After the call, both Cooley and Rounds went to their son's property in Lucin.
I called in a missing persons report in Park Valley, which is about 50 miles from Dylan's farm, because I just knew something was wrong.
At first, Rounds says he thought there may have been an accident.
I starting to think maybe there was a farming accident or something. Maybe a tractor was stuck, or maybe he broke down because it's such a big area. His phone was dead. Maybe he was somewhere there.
But when they recovered Dylan's boots, both parents say they knew something was wrong.
Because he wouldn't have left his boots there. They weren't old. They weren't bad. I mean, old and worn out for Dylan would be basically his toe sticking through a hole. I mean, there would have been no reason for those boots to have been in my mind at all.
But it's when we found the boots. When we found the boots, there is no other explanation for them to be out there besides Brenner put them out there. And the only way you would get Dylan's boots off of him is if he was not alive to keep you from doing it. And that's when we knew.
Cooley says officials with the Box Elder County Sheriff's Office were on scene when the boots were recovered. Looking back, she says the early stages of the investigation were, quote, terrible.
I truly believe laziness, just shrugging it off. This 19-year-old kid got sick of farming and walking away. He just walked away. They wouldn't listen to us. Truly, I don't know what could go through their head to make them do what they've done. And that's really what they were thinking. It's Memorial Day weekend. Mind you, this is Box Elder. They might have like 3 officers there all at once. They're not in a hurry. They're just like, it's Memorial Day weekend. Maybe he didn't want to farm this weekend. Maybe he went off, to do something with friends.
That I can get, but the complete resistance.
Mm-hmm.
I get a day or two, but this kid, it was not in his norm. That wasn't his thing. If he wasn't working on someone else's farm to earn money to keep his farm going, like, this young man was always seeking employment when he wasn't busy on his lands. So you get to the end of that weekend, there's no sign of him. His credit cards haven't been used, nothing. At that point, you have to look at the person. Is this out of their norm?
Yeah. And that's the reason that I really respect Candace Cooley and Justin Rounds, because when you go to report a crime, they don't know people's norms. You have to tell them, this is what's normal. This is normal.
As his mom said there, he would ring her and say, oh, guess what? And I'm sure it meant he was going to the next farm that he had a few weeks' work or the next job he had lined up. That was his norm. Farming was his life. And if police officers, I understand it, and I see it so much in the groups that it's horrifying the amount of kids from the age of 16 up that nobody covers. They would spread a flyer, whatever. And I know it's not possible to cover everybody, but everyone just assumes, oh, they just ran off, they're just off with friends, they're just whatever. And 2 years later, this family's still looking, and nobody's helping.
Well, the thing is, the truck, spick and span, and the boots should have been enough for Box Elder to know there's something wrong here, especially if he's got 1 pair of shoes.
Yeah. And that's the only brand he ever wore.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking about a sparkling truck, a time to sew. That doesn't happen. You don't have time to barely sleep, read, or eat while that's going on when it's come time to plant. In fact, I doubt he would even know how much gas he had in it until he went to turn it on.
I agree with Angie, baby, because I guarantee James Brenner used that truck to move Dylan, and then he went and washed it off. Where, I don't know. But he took his hat.
Yeah, That was certainly his hat.
I think he threw those boots out because he realized they weren't going to fit.
Yeah.
I agree with you. He wanted to be Dylan.
Yeah. Dylan had achieved what he couldn't achieve in his whole lifetime. And I do believe, or I feel anyway, Dylan had tolerated him and probably tried to be nice to him and then it just came to a point that this is my farm, it's my way or the highway sort of thing.
Yep, he wanted to be him. He was super jealous. He didn't want to be talked down to by a 19-year-old. As far as the blood that was on the boot, if anyone's ever seen like Red Wing boots or Ariat boots, you have to have a real trained eye to see a stain on them. And that's the truth.
Like these are
You
specialized.
got to see my husband's work boots. I can't tell you what's on them.
But he can't either.
It could be shit, oil, blood. I don't know. They're a different type of leather. So now where do you think we go from here, Gaelic? Because like I said, you have been heavily invested in this case, and I praise you for all the research you have done.
Obviously, there isn't going to be a pre-trial now anyway, that's for certain.
No, they've made the deal.
Look, we all know this information would not be out there unless they are 99.9% sure that this is Dylan. So, I assume, await the medical examiner's report and the sentencing hearing. And I hope the judge can throw everything he possibly can at him. But as you pointed out, and I agree with you, I don't think Brenner has much time left in this world, but the day is coming. And we all one day will have to meet our Maker. He knows his true heart and the evilness that he's done, and the amount of lives his lies have destroyed.
You know, and that's something we talk about every single day. We understand the victim. Someone's life has been taken. Someone has been violated. But it's not just one person. It's the people that love them, their parents, their grandparents, their siblings, wife, children, and then you have a community.
Yeah, like as you say with Brandy and Tyler, my dear God, that poor woman, she got laws changed. So no other child would go without an alert in that state for some political reason or criteria. You know, these parents, just like Justin and Candace, have advocated to the above and beyond. And still, people just have to drag and nitpick. If J.D. Huff's word is not good enough for you, stay out of it. This man knows what he's doing. And I hope and I pray that the next breakthrough in Idaho, as hard as it will be for Monkey. Will be that he's home.
I hope so too. And I could not believe that different channels were saying last night that both Dylan and Michael were found. I'm like, that's crazy.
To actually put Dylan Rounds found / Michael Vaughn to insinuate that both were found is disgusting and despicable and a horrible thing to have done to the Vaughn family and Dylan's family. You know,
Well,
they're
there's nothing
both.
we can do as long as people watch these, channels like that.
And please,
I mean, there's nothing we can do.
we all have theories.
Encouragement of behavior encourages the behavior.
And as for Daisy, speaking on Dylan, that's news to me.
Yeah,
and I have pretty much watched.
I'm the only one talking about Dylan. I'm like, we've been talking about Dylan for almost 2 years.
There's absolutely nothing on Dylan that I don't think I have watched. Not that I have to admit that I would go. I mean, if I wanted to read, I don't know, a comic book on true crime, I might go over there, but that's about it. It's about as nonsensical as and illogical as possible. Because it's not about the victim, it's not about their families, it's not about truth and justice, it's about clickbait. I'm sorry.
Well, some of them
That's
it
my
is.
opinion. That's my opinion.
And I'm just really hoping, I'm being kind of crazy here, but with the eclipse that we just had a few days ago, I mean, a lot of things are coming to light. And I'm just hoping that 2024 is the year of recovery, that people are found. I don't just mean the cases we talk about on this channel, but all of them. I mean, I hope it somehow something shifts and more cases are brought to justice and the victims are taken to their family.
I actually, obviously in this country, you wouldn't see an eclipse if you tried, unless there was an eclipse of clouds. Now, that'd be something. But when the eclipse happened and then Dylan was found, and I was sort of like, okay, maybe this is divine and Mother Nature stepping in and reuniting him with his family. We don't know. Just have to believe
No
there's
one
a
on
greater.
this planet, unless it's self-defense, has a right to take a life.
No. No. And
it's like people screaming, my body, my choice, but they want me to pay for their damn student loan debt.
Exactly. Fortunately, life does not work that way.
No, it does not.
I agree with everybody's right to make their own decision, their own beliefs, whatever they may be. And I respect their right. Doesn't mean I'm automatically going to agree with it, but I will respect that that's their opinion and they're entitled to it. But I'm not going to drag anybody for that. I'm not going to hound them.
Why is it my damn problem?
It's not. And why did it make it your problem?
Yeah.
You're here to be a voice for Dylan, for Summer, Harmony, Sebastian.
Oh, baby, we have so many.
I mean, we're running out of space for the amount of cases that are being covered. And the BS.
I have to delete rooms in Discord because we run out of server room.
Like, the BS has got to stop. Think about things logically. If it isn't probable or doesn't make sense, it probably didn't happen. And evil is walking amongst us, and fighting among each other is just encouraging that. Join together, stand with these families if you believe them. If you don't, that's on you. But there's nobody that we speak for that I don't stand 100% behind. I'm not spending my time following Nate Eaton and all these channels because it's pleasurable. It's not.
Mm-mm.
It's heartbreaking. It's gut wrenching. But if, like last night, that one message pops up that somebody somewhere is getting closure and a young man is being reunited with his family, that's what makes it worth it.
100%. And in my closing note, I do want to say something because it was really quite the punch in the gut when I saw in the Crime Lines and Lies Facebook group last night that was posted that Dylan's body had been found and that there was a plea agreement. Not gonna lie, I had quite the breakdown, and he's not my child. You all know
No.
you all know I'm you all know
I
I'm a
think-
crier. I'm an emotional person. And I just thought to myself, well, for one, Kat and I were worried about you.
Yeah,
And
I posted it and I shut down.
yeah, and one thing about this, some people say community, but one thing about, friends that, talk every is, we stick through these cases through thick and thin. We just get through it. We get through the mud. We get through it all. And we don't have to agree on who we think is guilty, who's innocent, who's a good person. I mean, I fuck up more than anybody around here. But I mean, at the end, we have a great circle of friends.
Absolutely amazing. And as we say every day, and I truly hope every sub, every member, every person that comes into these chats, when we say we appreciate you being here for Sebastian, for Summer, for Harmony, Dylan, we truly do. We're not just saying that because we're trying to be polite or be the nicest person out there. It's truly appreciated. Truly. And each and every person's opinion is valid. This chat is one of the best. Personally, I've had no issues. We have a few now and again.
Well, I mean, some opinions are valid and some are just way out there that I just, I mean, I sprain my forehead sometimes by rolling my eyes by what some people say. Or question, have they searched the house? Have they looked for DNA? I'm like, STFU, what do you mean? Of course they have. I don't even have to be there to tell you.
You know, you've built a fantastic community here.
Well, all of you, not me. OJ, OJ, I don't need your bullshit right now.
Oh, there's our tragedy pimp number one.
Mm-hmm.
OJ now has his own fan club going.
OJ's here knocking my stuff off. What is wrong with my kitty right now? Oh, my kitty here knocking everything off. What I have to do is I have to be very careful the way I talk to him because he's real sensitive. His vet was telling me about that. Like I can't yell at him just like, just now. Like, OJ, I don't need your bullshit. So I have to say it in a calmer voice. Like right now, he's knocking everything off the desk.
I think I told you this morning he's playing like Daddy Comes Home. He's the best guy in the world. He acts like he's the little angel. That goes away. It's all hell breaks loose on Mom. As most kids do.
Yeah.
But we love him. You know?
He's knocking stuff off right now. Yeah. Anything of mine, he will figure out a way to break it. Well, if you want, I can turn on the camera and you can see OJ. Just ignore me. All right,
he loves doing that. He's actually plotting what he's going to do next. And suddenly she's gone. I have no clue what to do. Not sure what's going on.
Okay, here he is. Oh, look at that.
Oh, look.
Ever. Oh, look at that.
OJ. OJ.
Look at that kitty. He did the best to me. Look at that. Say hi to everybody. Look at that. You little angel. Oh my goodness. You are the best to me. Yeah, you just stay right here. I'm gonna bounce you for a second. Look at that, kitty. Give me kisses. Let's play a game.
Yeah, no, that's not happened.
See, there, my kitty. Ah! If you do that to me, I'll do it back to you. See, there he is. I'm gonna eat you. You're the best. I love my kitty. All right, so enough of that.
That guy's super spoiled.
Yeah, he's a big old freaking cat. Come on, get back up here. You just made a freaking ass out of me again. Come on. Come on. There you go. There, my kitty. There. See, he's so nice. Yeah, he's the best ever. Can I eat your ear? Your ear is so tasty.
Hey, OJ. You been good?
Yeah. Give me kisses.
Be nice to Mommy.
Yeah, you so nice to me. You want me to get you some chicken nuggets? He loves chicken McNuggets. He said no. Okay.
You don't? What OJ wants?
OJ, get your claws out of the carpet. Damn it. You fat ass, quit doing that. Oh my gosh. You know better than that. Yeah, you're fine.
He's executive producer. You may just get him a jacket or a chair or something.
I know. He's gonna be pissed here. What are you doing? Quit tearing my shit up. Come here. You come here and be a snuggle bun. Come on.
Yeah, this isn't happening.
Okay, he's back. Oh, he's funny now. Oh my goodness. There he is. See, there he is. He's so nice now. There he is.
Such a pretty boy.
I know. We're gonna watch Lion King in a minute. Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's how my day's going. All right, but I am very happy. Well, not happy.
No, I think it's bittersweet. More so, I'm happy. Dylan is with will be with his parents and his siblings and his grandparents. Yes. I just 2 years ago, this man knew he was going down. He could have saved some of the pain and devastation that this family have gone through, but he chose not to. That's evil. And whether he's 2 years or 4 years in prison, there's a higher power he will have to answer to one day. And I think where he's headed is going to be hotter than any desert. My opinion only. But
Well, he can try to get right with Jesus right now. But the problem is, Gaelic, where he's going, there's not an oven hot enough.
well, Jesus don't hang around in those circles. You know?
I'm not talking about you, OJ. Son of a bitch. He messed up my hair and everything.
But for Dylan's family, I think they just need to be surrounded in prayer of whatever faith, denomination anyone may be. Just, I'm sure, despite knowing and probably having accepted he had gone, this is horrendous, and Pat to give it out to you or OJ, I'm not sure. Even, yes, they probably had accepted he was gone. To get this type of news can be just, I just can't imagine. I'm sure it's like being heartbroken all over again. It's a dream come true, and it's horrendous pain at the same time.
Yeah, that's what it seems like to me, and I could not imagine what they're going through. It's a different chapter in their life, and I think about when Al Stout was talking about when they got the guilty verdict for Gannon. He said, now we can start grieving.
Yeah.
It's a different process, when the charges, came out.
And each member of that family will grieve in a different way, because no two people grieve the same way.
Nope. Well, you can't tell people on the internet that, though, right? They know how everyone should act.
I've been there. I didn't handle it good till I realized I wasn't handling it good, and I had to get help with it. I don't mind admitting that. I thought I could take it all. I was strong enough, but I wasn't.
Nope.
But I'll get there. It's a process.
Everything's a process, except for, death. That's probably the easiest thing we do. Well, Gayet, I really appreciate all the work you have done on this case, and
I haven't done anything much. Just kept
amazing person you are, and I just feel horrible for Candace and Justin. I really do.
But it united the family, and I'm sure this will, in many ways, they will lean on each other and get through this too.
I agree. Well, thank you everyone for being here. I think we have another show this afternoon, depending on the update that the state of Oklahoma says is coming out. But you never know. Yes, about the 2 women missing from the Panhandle of Oklahoma. So I've been thinking that. If not, I've got, the thumbnail and everything ready to go.
Yeah.
If not, we'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. But I do want a huge round of applause for my very good friend and yours, Gayet Girl. You did an amazing job, my friend, and your work on this case, your coverage, your research is beyond words.
No, we've done it together. We're a team. We all do our bits. As I said, I can't find a better chat on YouTube, certainly. Every one of you mods here, spectacular, wonderful people. The friendship in this group and the community, the sense of community. We're all from all over the world, but we can come together to be on the side of the victims, those that can't speak for themselves, and to try and do it in a respectful, factual way. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. And love and friendship at the end of the day, but you don't have to put up with anyone's bullshit. So on that note, Gaelic?
I will just say, Gur Mila Markov, Stalker Gwil, and Lashin, a lot go hauling. What I just said was, thank you all for your friendship, and I pray and hope that today will be a beautiful and blessed day for everyone. Thank you all.
And on that note, we're out of here. Love you all. Thank you, God, and Gaelic again. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.